Hi, this is Jason from Funly, and in this video we're going to talk about how to set up the sun and position it in Sky Studio. From building on our previous scene, we've set up a gradient skybox, we have some interesting stars, and we have some customized colored clouds. We're setting up a sunset scene here, so next we're going to try to get our sun into the scene and position it right here behind this mountain. So let's go ahead and find your Sky profile. This is where you always edit everything in Sky Studio. Let's go ahead and go to the Features section and click the checkbox for Sun. So you'll notice right away the scene brightened up. This is because the sun was positioned by default above us, and it has a directional light that kind of assumes it's a daytime scene. Since we're building a darker sunset scene, we're going to immediately need to adjust some light intensity values. So let's go to the sun section, and let's just make this look a little bit more fitting for our scene. I'm going to bring down sunlight intensity, and we can even change the color of the sunlight. Let's change it to something that maybe matches the clouds a little bit better. That looks kind of nice. Okay, so next let's try to position the sun down by this mountain area. The way you move the sun on its orbit path is by using the progress. This is the progress of the orbit. So I realize the sun does not move around the Earth. However, for the sake of modeling inside of Sky Studio, that's how we manage it. It's the easiest way to manipulate things. So let's move the progress, which will slide the sun down. We can also, if we want to align to a different position inside of our scene, we can change the rotation. This will slide the sun all the way around the scene and then back again over here. This lets you position the sun anywhere you need it without having to deal with, complex dates and times and the solar, layout on calendar days. It's very straightforward in Sky Studio. So let's go ahead and position it back where we want it, behind this. And now let's start working with the color. We're working on a sunset scene here, so we're probably going to want some oranges. Ooh, that looks pretty good. We can also get more of an atmospheric scattering effect by playing with the sun edge feathering. This does a smooth step around the edges to soften them out. You'll notice as I raise it, it gets softer and the center part gets smaller. And then as I lower it, you get a more crisp image. Let's go with something like that. Looks nice. You can change the size of the sun to be whatever you want. Sky Studio is meant for designers and creatives to build any sort of crazy planet they want. So we can go ahead and crank it up and make it massive. We can make it very small. Let's kind of just pick whatever looks good to you. I think somewhere around there looks nice. You'll notice that Sky Studio does proper additive blending between the sun, the clouds, and the stars. And you'll notice how things sort of wash out and blend together appropriately as you'd expect at the horizon. Let's look at some other values we have in here. We've already talked about the rotation. The tilt, by default it's 0. The tilt is the alignment of the orbit as you move things around the progress. So if I wanted to have the sun move at an angle when I do the progress, I could do this. You'll notice how it's moving now at an angle. But usually you just want the sun to be at 0. The orbit tilt is more useful when you're working with the moon. Let's go ahead and move this back into place. And there we go. One last feature I want to show you that's unique to Sky Studio is the ability to use custom images that animate for the sun. This is great for cartoon scenes. So I'm going to go ahead and just raise this up just so that we can see a little bit easier. And let's click Use Custom Texture. And then click Use Alpha Blending. I'll explain why in a second. And so you'll notice that when you enabled Use Custom Texture, a new field appeared called Sun Texture. We've already prepared a couple example textures for you, but let's use Toon Sun Transparent and drop that in. So you'll notice that now the sun has been replaced by an image. And let's go ahead and change the colors to something a little more cartoony. And you'll see this it's fading out from the edges. We don't really want that. That was nice when we were trying to go for more of a realistic look, but that's controlled by the edge feathering. So let's go ahead and bring the edge feathering down. And now we have a cool cartoon sun in our scene. We can even animate the sun. if you click Animate Sun Rotation box, you get an automatic cartoony rotation. So let's bring that down to something a little bit smaller. So this shows you all the major features around the sun. All of these features also apply to the moon, so we're not going to do a separate section on that, since everything is exactly the same between the sun and the moon. If in your custom scene, you want to use the sun and the moon as two suns or two moons, you can use these however you like. We've just labeled them sun and moon to make it easy and clear for their original intent. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next tutorial.